88.3 FM, Voice of the People Community Radio. Let me get back. Let me get the mind right. So, welcome to the show. I'm your host of the workplace, Toney Orr. As always, in the studio is the vivacious, illustrious Reverend Doctor.
Grand Rising, good humans.
Okay.
Deidre said there's no sound. Can you hear us now, Deidre? Keep talking, Tony.
Yes, it should be sound now. I'm looking. Yes, we are broadcasting.
Okay.
So she should be able to hear.
Okay.
Go ahead and greet us, Denise. Any announcements or?
She said, yes, she can hear us now. Okay, I just have to apologize and then call us into community because last Thursday was Ezekiel's birthday. Did you know that, Tony? Last Thursday was Ezekiel's birthday. And I said that I was going to sing happy birthday. We were going to sing happy birthday on this past Tuesday, and I forgot. And I have been reminding myself all day, don't forget. So I really need for all of us to just take a moment to join each other in this celebration of, you call him Mac, I call him Ezekiel. I didn't know his name, and then he asked me to read the book of Ezekiel. Do you remember that? And that's how I started calling him Ezekiel. So Mac, Ezekiel, we want to celebrate you. We want to honor your life. We want to remember you. We want to just take a moment to think about all that you contribute to our lives and to our community and to this station. And we just want to sing happy birthday. So everybody, wherever you are, sing with us. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ezekiel. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Woo, 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 woo. Happy birthday, Ezekiel.
And for those of you who, we call him, one of the names we call him is Ezekiel, but his name is Owen McMullen.
Owen McMullen.
And most of you know him. So happy birthday, Mac, and many more. We are so grateful that we have friendship with you and you have friendship with us. Any announcements, Denise?
I don't think I have any announcements other than remembering that to mark your calendar for the Rights After Wrongs events that's happening on September 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Any of you that need to clear up your record, whatever it is that you may have had going on, you may have going on right now, there is a service that's available to you, and it looks like it's free of charge. So that'll be September 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mark your calendars now. We do have Domino's in the Park. Woo, woo, happening tomorrow at 5 o'clock right here at Petaway Park. It's on 21st Street right down from the station. You are all invited and you can bring a friend.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started into the show this morning. It's really kind of a carryover from Tuesday's show. Tuesday's show was, to me, was just an awesome show. It had a lot of different comments, a lot of different things being said. One thing that I heard, and I think it was from Ramen, on one side, I may be wrong, but I think it was Ramen when he said something about unions. And so it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking for the past couple of days about not only unions, but also what we talk about a lot, the systems. And so for those of you who don't know, yesterday, this UPS was threatening a strike, and they was threatening to shut it down. Teamsters was, and if UPS would have went on strike, the truck drivers who are Teamsters would have went on strike, and a lot of other transportation entities would have went on strike in solidarity. So they were trying to avert this strike, and so they did. They tentatively signed a new contract, to avert this strike. And some of the things they were asking for is during the pandemic, because they were trying to get people, they raised these hourly wages. They raised them up to some in some parts of the country, upwards to $30 $35 an hour. Well, after the pandemic, after the emergency health mandate ended, these companies, UPS, sent a lot of these workers back to their original pay, hourly wages, which was like $15, $17, $18 an hour. And for 2 years, these employees were getting a certain amount of money per week, and now it's gone. And so they were like, hey, we know you may not be able to keep us at $30, $35 an hour, but you can't take us back to $17 an hour. It's got to be some compromise in between.
Oh, I missed something. Why can't they keep you at $30, $35 an hour?
Because a lot of what was these companies were getting was federal money come into them to help offset these higher wages that they had because they were considered essential workers. And so because they needed to be there, the federal government, as part of their rescue package or whatever they called it, helped increase these wages. And so once the emergency mandate ended, that federal money ended. And so now these companies have basically had to pay it on their own. And so a lot of companies went back to where they originally were. And so a lot of workers got caught in this, in this transition. And these UPS workers, they were like, no, we ain't going for it. So we're going to go on strike. But there was a compromise to avoid the strike. And it got me to thinking, about not only the role of unions, but the role of these systems also. And so part of what unions do is to help facilitate betterment for the workers, betterment for the employees. When the Black middle class started to move forward, it was in these a lot of these union jobs. Union jobs help formulate the Black middle class, because now there was a lot of factories, there was a lot of, whether it was steel mills, auto companies, and it helped facilitate the Black middle class. It was a system that benefited the Black middle class. To a large extent, it benefited the Black middle class. And so when we talk about these systems, my question is, I'm just using unions as an example, but we know these systems work against us, but does these systems benefit us also?
Wait a minute. So let me just back up a couple of steps. So the union, what did the union do for the UPS workers?
What do you mean with the? You
said that the unions, they're not going to have the strike. So the union stepped in to stop the strike. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
And so what did the people get? What did the unions negotiate for the workers?
Okay, so they negotiated a higher wage. They didn't go back to where they were, but they negotiated a higher wage. They negotiated more of a pension. They negotiated more of some other benefits.
Well, just according to this one highlight, I'm just glossing over this. UPS had a gross profit for the 12 months ending March 31st, 2023 of $73.688 billion. Mm-hmm. So why they can't pay the higher wages? And why won't the union fight for that? And I think that's what Raman is saying. So the union knows, I believe that somebody in the union knows that the UPS made a gross profit of $73.688 billion, but you can't pay our workers? Why you can't?
Okay, so...
And why do we settle? I think that may be what Raman, and I don't know, Raman would have to come on and speak for himself, but that's the way I interpret it, that the unions are also in relationship with the people that they are negotiating with. So they're negotiating on both sides.
Well, I think that's part of negotiations. I mean, yes, you had the union going to step in and I want people to understand this. When they hear the word union, they have this idea like United Labor Unions that I work for. They think that United Labor Unions is the union, but the union is a collective group of workers. The workers are the union. The union is just a facilitator, but the The union actually moved because of the people that's a part of the union. And so when you go into these negotiations, yes, it's certain things you want. But just like with anything else that you're negotiating, the business on the business management side is that, hey, we're going to give you this, or we're not going to give you that. So you're fighting for certain things, but you're not going to always get them. It's I was telling somebody yesterday.
I don't think that's the concern. I think that when we understand negotiations, we understand that the goal of the negotiation, this is the way I understand it. The goal of the negotiation process is to make sure that both parties walk out feeling like they've won. Everybody wants to feel like we've won, regardless of what we get or we don't get. We feel like, yes, this is something that we can live with because we gained this and we gained that, even though we may have lost on this. But we're walking out feeling like we've won. So I understand, that's the way I understand negotiations. My concern is when what we're talking about is not, what we're talking about is the people understanding, the people that you say make up the union, they don't always have all of the information. Like they may not know what the gross profits are, right? They may not know what the company has to offer. They are depending on the union organizer like you to have that information and to be able to share it with them and to negotiate it for them on their behalf. But if you as the organizer or the leader, I don't know the language that you use, if you withhold that information in favor of the people that you're negotiating with on the other side, then now it becomes problematic. And I think that's the concern, that you've got people who say that they are leading the union who are not giving all the information to the people because they feel strapped because of the conversation that they're having with the organization. Because of the system got them feeling like they can't speak up.
Right, and I can't talk about all unions, but the majority of unions, even before you get to this place where you're going to talk strike, you have these meetings. You have these meetings with all the members. No matter how many meetings you have to have, because the members want to know, and so you let them know. You let them know about the profit that the company has made. You let them know about health benefits. You let them know about all that. So when these workers, because the union doesn't call the strike, the workers of the union will stand up and say, "We want to strike." And if that's the case, they're going to have that information.
But I feel like I'm getting caught up in what you're saying. You said that the people are the union.
The people are the union.
And so you said, but the union doesn't call the strike. The workers,
yeah.
So then,
because they're the union.
Well, then what do you mean the union doesn't call the strike?
So if you're, let's say, the Teamsters, the president of the Teamsters doesn't jump up and say, "I'm going to strike. We're going to strike." No, it's going to be a vote, and the members decide we want to strike. Because what most unions try not to do is have a strike. Because if you have a strike, that means workers aren't working. They're not making any money. So you try to avoid a strike. But if that's the only way to get your demands met, then you have to, or you will. But it's the voting membership of that union that's going to decide that they're going to strike.
I'm fine. I just wanted you to clear up why you said that the union doesn't strike, but then you said the people aren't make up the union. So I got it.
Okay. And so, like I said, it got me to thinking about.
Yeah. So Phyllis Brown says, and I think this is what you're trying to say: the workers vote to strike or not strike.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the workers are the union.
Yes.
So the union does decide whether or not to strike.
Yeah. I guess where I'm getting caught up at is that a lot of people, and I said this earlier, a lot of people think when they think about the Teamsters as a union, they think about one person, or they think about they don't think about the collective.
I don't think that people who understand unions think the union is one person.
How
do union one person?
Let me say it like this. I think when people, when they think of union, it's just like when people look at me, or when I go out to talk to people, they have the idea that, United Labor Unions is Toney. And I have to let them know, no, it's not me. It's actually all of you.
Oh, maybe because of what Phyllis Brown says. The union is the spokesperson of the people.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think that's all. Caller, you're on the air.
Well, thank you so much, Sister Denise.
Oh, it's Ezekiel. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you once again for your well wishes. I really appreciate that. I'm 32 years old today, and I'm getting up there. Thank you so much once again. I made 79. But to make a long story short, and just get to the subject that y'all talking about. And in addition to the union for the Brown, UPS, if they had gone on strike, it would have affected so many other unions because solidarity is a big word in unions today. And that would have meant that other unions would not have participated in their capitalistic endeavors. And they would have joined their brothers and sisters in that union in solidarity. And we just had one big ticket line from one end of the United States to the other. And so they negotiated to, do some things that they made some wonderful gains because their independence, or they're not independent, but their temporary even got raised. So those unions made some excellent strides this level of negotiation. Anytime your temporary is made, that's really going above and beyond because this capitalist, they don't pay a lot of them, like they do for regular work. Am I right about that, Tom?
Yes.
And then in solidarity, if Brown had went on strike, then so would an awful lot of other folks that would have caught their ticket line, correct?
Yeah. It'll be like a chain reaction. FedEx will join in, and just like earlier this year with the railroad workers who were threatening strike, and they knew that the railroad workers going on strike, Teamsters going to go on strike, commercial food service workers going to go on strike because they all work in.
And like you said, they're in harmony and they're mostly informed because my dad was a union man. He worked for the railroad. They tried, when Buck Island went out of business, they tried to put the workers to reinvest in the railroad. And of course, they knew better to do that because they were informed. So, to make a long story short, the workers are the union. I guess that's what Toney was trying to say. And they made some decisions, and it benefited them, and they were aware of just where the company was in terms of making all that money. It's capitalistic. These capitalists make billions and billions of dollars. And I want to say something that's dictated last time I talked on the program. Mr. DeSantis, the president of Florida, said that they're not going to teach history because the slaves were rewarded in some ways by making them better workers, better members of the community, or something to that effect. And when the Spanish, they didn't really expect Florida, United States, the oldest city in America was going to bring all this thing. And they also had capitalist
Okay, thank you. Caller, you on air?
Yeah, peace and blessings to both of you all.
Hey.
Hey.
Pardon me?
Hey.
Oh, it's not Mr. Willie no more, huh? Hey, okay.
Hey, Mr. Willie.
Okay, so I'm casual now, huh? Okay, I'm just one of the boys on the block, no problem. I wear so many colors, I can deal with it. That was Brother Mac, Big Mac, I believe it was. I have a lot of respect for that brother. I would like to see some of his writing. I believe he's a good writer because he really, when he speaks, he's very thorough. I want to also speak out about hotel. I'm so, that has really made my day to hear the good news concerning him. That he didn't have to have his maybe a foot removed and a leg removed. I'm so happy because I met him over 20-some years ago. He's an airman and I'm a Navy man. And we met then, and I just can't get enough of his, when I hear him talk, because he don't talk about something off the top of his head. He's a researcher. He's a man who looks for the needle in the haystack. And I like to talk to brothers and sisters that, you know, do some research, you know, just don't just talk off the top. He had nothing wrong with emotion. Fred W. He was very emotional too, but he was also very intelligent, and he used his intellect. But anyway, I want to say that I'm so happy to hear about that. Listen, Sister Denise, or you or Brother Toney, either one, have y'all ever heard of a magazine called Black Vitality?
Is the latest? It's a new magazine that's out now in circulation.
So apparently you haven't heard about it. Okay.
Oh, I thought I did.
Well, no, if you did, knowing you would. Listen, it's been out, I would say, 12 months and counting. But anyway, it's free. You can go down there on Main Street, and go down there on Clinton Avenue. They got, you know, the paper stand. It's free. But anyway, a couple stories today is about our Black women judges. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't say enough about Black women. So like I've always told everybody, Black women is who taught me about how to walk through the valley of shadow of death. I'm talking about life skills. My uncles, they taught me the work ethic, and they enforced it, and thank God for them. Never been in prison, nothing like that. And I always believed in God's work and education, which I don't have a lot of as far as paperwork. But anyway, they got these 5 good-looking judges here. And I tell you, and I read the article, and I'm going to read it again and again. You know, I'm telling everybody, please pick up one of these copies. Black Vitality. You know what vitality means? It means life. It means energy. And if you don't have vitality, it means you're dead. Whether it's in your mind or your body or your bank account, whichever. But anyway, you all have a good day and continue to do as you do. Good show. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Thank you. And so, one of the points I was trying to bring in talking about using you as an example is, you know, how unions benefit from this system of negotiations. And it doesn't matter whether it is UPS, you look at the actors in the Screen Actors Guild, you look at the writers, they're on strike. You look at football players, you know, who hold out, you know, from their contract negotiations, or, you know, there has been work stoppages in all the major sports. And you think about the amount of money that these players make, you know, and so, you know, they benefit, you know, from certain areas or certain aspects of the system that they're in. the sports or entertainment or work system. And so one of the questions that I was having, in this conversation with my friend yesterday, one of the questions that was asked is, how do we individually and collectively benefit from from the systems to be able to facilitate a growth or facilitate something new or facilitate something different. And we were talking about finances, and the person was telling me, said, there are so many loopholes in the capitalistic system that will benefit, people, that will benefit Black people, that will benefit poor white people, that will benefit the Black collective, that you can take that money and move it into something else that can really push the collective. And so it got me to thinking, I know on Tuesday we talked about destroying the system and creating a whole new system. But until that happens, and it's just a question, it's just a thought, until that happens, why don't we go in and benefit from it in some way?
I thought maybe you wanted to get the caller.
Oh, I'm gonna caller, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for answering. Peace and love, dog. This brother Stoloway. Sound like you got two of us on. Are you there?
We here.
Okay. Now, Tony, I know you represent the unions and all that, but who can we get to represent the homeless? These people that have the right to work can get fired anytime. The underemployed. People in our communities, like I say, that are sitting on the porch, but we're seeing trash and enough work to be done to employ people all around our city. But when we see these people around our city that are doing the work, they don't look like us. Even in the little stores that we have to go to, they don't look like us. People that are doing the construction work, they might have 1 to 10 that might look like us. But like I say, when you have signs all over the place, I know Denise says she don't care about trash, but as an environmentalist, we have to remember we act according to our environment. And we want to talk about Black on Black love and respect. But at the same time, we don't speak up for those of our people that we know they don't have the quality of education, and sometimes maybe all that they can do for now until we get educational programs where we can send them to college or to different places to elevate or have upward mobility. Who can we get to represent those people to go to our elected officials and say, in this community, we see too much underemployment or unemployment. Now, I know the unions are good, and I do know a little about that UPS situation. They have new hires that they have negotiated $23 an hour. But those people that have been there for 10 years or more are still at $23 an hour. And as a union representative, as a union spokesman, would you think that is fair, Mr. Toney?
No, I don't think that's fair, but I haven't looked at the total contract. I think they're still trying to ratify it, but I would think
my
that...
son works, my baby boy, he works for UPS, and he's been there 10 years. And the new hires, like I say, that come in, they will be making the same money that he's making. He makes $23 an hour. So they have negotiated all new hires that come in make $23 an hour. Now, my biggest deal, and as an environmentalist, I know Ms. Denise says she don't care about no trash.
Stop saying that, because that's not what I said. Stop saying that, because that's not what I said. I said I don't care about the signs that you talk about. That's what I said.
Oh, that sounds like, so well, we need to replace play that again, and maybe you'll know that.
I know exactly what I see here.
But the lines that we see, this street is adopted by Central High School, and we know that these kids at Central High School is not cleaning up all the way over there off of 12th Street, where I saw the last sign, 12th and Woodrow, and all these other places, where we can have all of our young people that are unemployed, that think they have to do negative things all day. We can have them on a very constructive mode by saying, hey, we know you act according to your environment, so we want all our environment to be clean. And it's not just about picking up trash. In some areas, we need bulldozers. In some areas, we need some heavy equipment to make it look like a livable city. And that's why I say we need to get on our elected officials to say, come out and look at who's doing the work now. Now, I don't have nothing against Mexicans because I call them people of color too. But I have seen so many instances where you go in areas that we have our brothers and sisters watching them do the work and jealous, I might say, and myself jealous because I'm retired, that we don't have the work that they're getting. And I know a lot of people would say our people don't want to do construction work and all this. I say we ought to implement a program where if you want to start at the bottom after so many years or after a year of the work and you show that you're dedicated to your community, we send you to college. After you, anyway, I know I was thinking about the brother man talking a long time, but this is something that needs to be out there. We need to open our eyes to see all the lies that they have on these street corners about these adoptions, these street adoptions, and put people to work. Again, peace and love to all.
And I'm going to say it again. I do not care about an adopt a sign, adopt a street sign. There are ways that we don't have to depend on a white man for everything. If you see some trash, pick it up. If you want to organize some people to go through your neighborhood, to clean up the neighborhood, absolutely we need to do that. Now, when Phyllis Brown writes in and says that there's trash on Marshall Street that hasn't been picked up after all the calls that have been made, yes, we need to rally around that. But I do not care about an adopt a sign. And that's what I meant, and that's what I said, and that's what I will continue to say.
It's a couple things I want to address real quick, based on what Sullivan said. Number one, UPS is is part of the Teamsters. I can't speak on your son. You say your son been there 10 years, but from my experience, when you're talking about large unions like that, when they do these contracts, they do a scale within the contract. They do a seniority scale within the contract. So if they do that to make sure that if someone who comes in through the door is making a certain amount and somebody who's already been there, they're not going to be paid the same amount. The base pay coming in may be, they may say that the minimum we're going to pay is $23 an hour. But if you've been there 10 years, just by seniority, you're going to be making more money. So that's what, from my experience, that's how contracts are written. So, but another thing, when people start to say we, the first question I want to ask is you. Because if you see a sign that says adopt a sign, that this group has adopted a street and nothing is done, call that group. The name is right there on the sign. Call that group and ask them, well, how come you haven't done it? And, yes, if we use the word we, if we get together and we can do things in our community, if we're waiting on other people, and I think that's the problem, when we wait, we're waiting on other people to give us a handout. We're waiting on other people to do something for us when we can do it ourselves. And I still don't understand the thing about people sitting around watching other people work, and being jealous because they're working. So, but any comments?
It's a call. You got a call.
Sorry, caller, call back. My mind was going 100 miles a minute.
There's a caller again.
Call you in there.
It's over again. That's one of the tricks that these cats put us in, wanting us to volunteer when we got water, gas, and lights to pay. That's why I say, now, back during the day, I guess, I don't know which president it was, but they had programs, the Marshall Plan. And I don't care if they call it the solar plan, or Denise the light plan, or Toney D plan, whatever. We need a plan to put our people to work. Now, all this about volunteering and you go pick up this and that, like I say, as an environmentalist, I see more than just some paper and trash. Now, I guess if you travel, and I do a little traveling, and what we want is a livable city. We have problems with crime that is going down because what I call the movement, black on black love and respect. Now, if you're out here and you know what's going on, because we used to have little crosses over there on 14th and Martin Luther King that denoted how many of black on black crime, who was killing who and all that. I said I would be brief. But anyway, when you say we can do for themselves, we have a government that we pay taxes to for our future generations. We know that we ought to be able to pass down money and close this wealth gap and everything else. There's so many things that we have to work on financially, but in a social material world dominated by the white supremacists, we have to ask them, well, we have to petition them to do us right. And I'm saying those people that are coming across the border, let's not give them all the jobs when we were born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas, or this country. We need to put our people to work. That is my biggest thing about the signs and everything else. Forget about the signs. It ain't nothing but a lot of litter and a lot of lies. But let's put our people to work. Again, peace and love to all.
Call you on the air. Caller? Call you on the air.
Again, if you need help, hang up.
I'm gonna get this comment in while you're trying to figure out the phone lines. Well, there's a caller again.
Call you on the air.
Yeah, just real quick. You hear folks saying, what do they need to do? Let's try this. Voting is a heck of a way to put your voice. Think about the youngsters that never had, I know they ain't been to college because he's a teenager. He's the mayor of rural Arkansas, one of the cities over there. We got young folks that is trying to do things. Let them all get together. That's a marshal. Marshal their efforts together. Let them all come together. Vote. We got a mayor that's 18 years old, one of the youngest in the United States. We don't never say anything about the achievements of our young people when they get out and do things. So let young people get out and do things. You'd be surprised at what we can do. I just wanted to add that. We got a lot of potential. All is not waste. Everything ain't all that bad. We can look to the hills, and see a bright future. That's what our future is now. Like I said. Boy, 18 years old, boy, young man, 18 years old, is the youngest man in the United States, right here in Arkansas. So we can do a lot of things if we will.
So I want to get these comments up. Your reply to Solar Beam's question. This is from Raman. Your reply to Solar Beam's question of wage scale is incorrect, Toney. So that's all that he said. Your reply to Solar Beam's question of wage scale is incorrect, Toney. And then the question, the response to Solar Beam about people coming across the border. Like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? So I just want to make sure we got those comments in from the people who are online with us.
Okay, and like I said, in my experience, and going back to what I said earlier, in my experience, when they negotiate these contracts, they negotiate wage scale. They negotiate seniority increases. We do it in our contracts. There's going to be a seniority increase, and that way it keeps people who have been there for a certain period of time not in the same category as an hourly wage or a salary wage as somebody coming in through the door, because that's unfair. And that's one of the first things that, one of the main things that you negotiate in these contracts. Now, if you're not part of the union, if you just everyday worker at some of these places, and you don't have the collective power of unions working for you, yeah, I can see that. I can see where there's no wage scale. I can see if you have been at McDonald's 20 years and somebody walked through the door and y'all both making $15 an hour. I can see that because nobody's sitting down, or nobody is. There's no collective that's working for that change. And I want us to understand this, and I think this is what I was trying to get at. Within these systems, how do we participate? Do we need to participate in these systems to benefit the collective, or do we just turn our back on them and just say forget it? Do we just say, when you talk about jobs, and working is a system? Do you say, well, you know what? I'm gonna create my own business, and I'm gonna work in that part of the system that benefit me and the collective, or I'm gonna go get a 9 to 5 and work in that part of the system to benefit me and the collective? Or do you say, you know what? I ain't doing none of it. So my question is, how do we participate in it? Do we just turn our heads from it, or do we just say we don't care?
You must can't see the light.
Well, I was talking, and I see the light. Calling you on there.
Well, hotel, Brother Tony.
Hey.
Hey, hotel, Mr. Denise.
Hotel.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Remind you of a saying that Frederick Douglass said, which gives the impetus behind what the union can provide. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Never have, never will. You've got to have something when you go in and make your demand that will stick regardless of what you're trying to do. And that's why you see a lot of unions going to strike, because it tends to push forward the agenda that the unions are trying to do. So I'll leave that with you out here. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Never have, never will. With that, peace and blessings, y'all.
Okay.
I feel like we're already participating in the system. You asked the question, do we participate in the system, as if that's an option? Like, we're already doing that. And so I don't see, I guess I don't understand the question, because who's not participating in the system? So maybe people who don't work, and maybe that's what Solar Beam is alluding to, people who choose not to work. But you're saying put people to work, put Black people to work, put our people to work. You got to want to work. So when when Ezekiel lifts up the mayor, the youngest mayor that's in the United States, then that's because he wanted to work. If a person wants to work, then there's work available.
Right.
And we can make sure that those resources are there so that you know that work is available. But if you don't want to work, then you complaining about people that sitting down. Obviously, that's what they've chosen to do. And I don't want to spend my energy there. I want to spend my energy with the people who say, yes, I want to do things differently so that I can create a system that's more just.
Call you on there.
Yeah, peace and blessings. I want to get one more bite off the apple. I'm so glad to hear about the hotel. Just want to say to him, you can get my phone number from Brother Neil and Brother Solar Beam. You can also get it, because Brother Solar Beam has got a trade that very few Black people possess at this time, and that's air conditioning. That has been a little white trade for years. I first got into it in 1975. I went to school for it. I didn't finish it. Unfortunately, it's my fault. I was going free. And I need to get in touch with Brother Soul Bean and Brother Hotel and Brother Big Mac. And I'll make 4. And I tell you what, we got to get in here and reach out and get our legacy, the young people, especially the young brothers. Because the young sisters, they're doing what a woman's supposed to do. They're doing their part. It's the Adams. The Adams is foot back. Thank you. Good show.
I want to get this comment in from Raman to you, Tony. Ron DeSantis said the same thing as far as the benefits of slavery, Tony. So you're asking a question about whether or not we should join the system so that we can benefit from it. And then the response that he has to you is that Ron DeSantis said the same thing as far as the benefits of slavery.
Well, what I'm saying is this. So if there is a way within the system, and, especially financially, if there's a way, you say you want to say, okay, I want to move the collective, and I don't want to have to keep dependent on a handout from the government, from the system, or whatever. He said, you know what? Let me use these tax codes. Let me use these financial institutions. Let me use what's there to help fund what I'm doing. If you're a business person, or you can use these things to help move where you need to be and help move the collective. Once you learn the education, once you get the knowledge of it, then why not use it? And so that's part of the conversation I was having with my friend yesterday. Is he was saying that, man, I don't care about that. I don't want to, I'm not going to lose my money. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But he kept saying that, but I want to create this foundation. I want to create this place and all these other things. And I kept asking, how are you going to do it? How you going to get the funding for it? How you going to get the resources that you need? But here's a place over here that you can use. Yes, it's part of the capitalistic financial system, but do we use it? Are we, can we use it to our advantage to move some different things? Because if you get enough resources, then you can start to change the system on some levels.
Raman asked the question, so unions do what now? That's the question that he asked. So unions do what now? So I'm of the mind that whoever you are indebted to is you are a slave to that person.
Right.
So when you say, why don't I use this system to get what I want, that means that you are depending on the system to give you the resources that you need, which means you're now indebted to that system, which makes you the system slave. So that is not something that I would promote at all. Hold on just a minute. Here's another comment from Deidre. Corporations put lobbyists in the face of policymakers. Who is Arkansas's policymakers for Black liberation? We don't have one single lobbyist. Let me say that again. Corporations put lobbyists in the face of policymakers. Who is Arkansas's policymaker for Black liberation? We don't have one single lobbyist.
Okay. So the question becomes: so if that's the case, if that's the construct that if we use the system to benefit us, then we become a slave to that system. So then if that's the case, why do we put our money in banks? Why do we put our money in life insurance? Why do we put our money in real estate? Because all that is part of the system. Now we can say that, well, we need that because we need to live, we need, we want to build, we don't want to be broke or whatever. But if that's the case, then you're going to perpetually always be a slave to the system, because you got to fund yourself somewhere.
I think what the point that people like me are trying to make is that there is a way for you to divest from this system to create the system that works for you. But no, that's not what you said. Hold on just a minute. What you said is let's use this system. since the system is what it is, let's use
Let's
this
use
system.
this
And I'm-
system to create something else, to create another collective, to take that money. If we use the financial system and say, you know what, I'm going to get what
the
I
money
can.
that you get from them comes with strings. The money that you get from the system, they tell you how you can and cannot
So
spend
let
the
me
money.
say-
So if you try to start another system, that system will say,
So-
well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you're not gonna let me finish. Go ahead.
Now go ahead. I'm gonna let you
Okay.
finish. I'm gonna let you finish. What I'm saying is that I'm not talking about go get funding from the system. No, I'm not going asking you to give me a grant. I'm talking about if I have you say I got $50,000. You know what? I'm gonna put my $50,000 in something that I learn about that will give me money back, that I can build my wealth. So now I can take my wealth out and I can start a program over here that's not attached to a grant, that's not attached to some funding from a government, from a nonprofit. I got my own resource of money. And this money will fund what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, Deidre responds to you right here. It says, great ideas are shortly followed by multiple barriers from the folk who came up with the great ideas. Great ideas are shortly followed by multiple barriers from the folk who came up with the great ideas.
Hey, we got to get out of here. It's 9:59. It's always great show. Just want to thank everybody for calling in. Make sure you tune in Monday 2 to 3 for the Truth and Justice Show with Larry Westmoreland. Monday 4 to 5 for Down with Debt with me and Neil. Neil Sealy and me. Tune in next Tuesday from 9 to 10 for Community Voices with Denise and me. Next Thursday for the workplace from 9 to 10 with me and Denise. And also, Players Drive starts next weekend. So get your coins together. Let's support KVL. Everybody have a